Hello and welcome to My Thoughts on Everything. The topic for today's discussion is, what if we remove all trees from Earth? Imagine a world suddenly devoid of trees. Forests, jungles, and woodlands, gone overnight. While this scenario may seem extreme, it raises an important question. How crucial are trees to life on Earth, and what would the consequences be if they disappeared? The answer is deeply troubling, as the role trees play in the ecosystem, climate, and human life is irreplaceable. Let's break down what would happen if all trees were removed from the Earth and explore the cascading effects on the planet, climate, and life as we know it. Immediate consequences. Collapse of ecosystems. Trees are the foundation of many ecosystems. The immediate disappearance of trees would trigger ecological collapse on a massive scale. Forests house around 80% of the world's terrestrial biodiversity, from insects and birds to large predators like tigers and wolves. Without trees, these ecosystems would unravel almost immediately. Loss of habitat. Species that depend on trees for shelter, food, and breeding grounds would face extinction. Birds, insects, and small mammals would be the first to suffer, followed by larger predators that rely on these smaller creatures for food. Some species might adapt, but the vast majority would perish. Food web breakdown. Trees provide fruits, nuts, and seeds, which are primary food sources for many species. Without these, the entire food web would collapse, leading to mass extinctions and ecosystem imbalances. A climate crisis. The carbon sink disappears. Trees play an essential role in regulating the Earth's climate through the process of photosynthesis, where they absorb carbon dioxide, CO2, and release oxygen. Without trees, this critical carbon sink would be lost, leading to catastrophic changes in our atmosphere. Rapid increase in CO2. Trees absorb about 25–30% of the carbon emissions humans produce. Without them, atmospheric CO2 levels would rise sharply, accelerating climate change. This increase would contribute to a hotter planet, more extreme weather events, and further destabilization of ecosystems. Oxygen depletion. While trees are not the only oxygen producers, phytoplankton in oceans produce around 50% of the oxygen we breathe. Their contribution is significant. The loss of trees would reduce the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere, though not to immediately dangerous levels. However, over time, combined with other factors, oxygen levels could decrease. Soil erosion and desertification. Trees play a crucial role in preventing soil erosion by anchoring soil with their roots and maintaining moisture levels in the soil. Removing them would lead to rapid soil degradation. Without trees, soils would be vulnerable to wind and rain erosion. This would devastate agricultural land, making it harder to grow crops and leading to food shortages. The world would witness the expansion of deserts and barren landscapes, a process known as desertification. Loss of water regulation. Trees help regulate water cycles by absorbing water from the soil and releasing moisture into the atmosphere through transpiration. Without trees, the hydrological cycle would be disrupted, causing more frequent and severe droughts, flooding, and irregular rainfall patterns. Temperature extremes. Trees provide shade, regulate temperatures, and influence local microclimates. They absorb heat and release moisture, which cools the environment. Without them, both local and global temperatures would spike. Urban heat islands. Cities would become significantly hotter, as there would be no trees to provide shade or mitigate the heat absorbed by concrete and asphalt. The urban heat island effect would be exacerbated, leading to higher energy consumption for cooling, increased air pollution, and heat-related health problems. Global warming acceleration. Globally, temperatures would rise at a faster rate due to the loss of carbon sequestration. The absence of trees would worsen the greenhouse effect, leading to more intense heat waves and shifting climate zones. Droughts and floods. Tree removal would lead to a dramatic increase in both droughts and floods. Without trees to regulate water flow, more rain would run off the land rather than being absorbed, increasing the frequency and severity of floods. Conversely, droughts would become more common in areas where trees no longer help to retain moisture in the soil. Dry rivers and lakes. Rivers, lakes, and aquifers would suffer without trees to replenish them. Many rivers would dry up or flow inconsistently, drastically reducing freshwater availability. Impact on humans. The removal of trees would not only affect ecosystems, but also human life in profound ways. Many of the products and resources we rely on come directly from trees, including wood for construction, paper, and even some medicines. Food shortages. As agricultural lands degrade due to erosion and water scarcity, global food production would plummet, leading to food shortages and famine. Countries with fragile economies or those heavily reliant on agriculture would be hit hardest. Increased natural disasters. The loss of forests would exacerbate natural disasters. Flooding, landslides, and droughts would become more frequent and severe, displacing millions of people and contributing to social unrest. A bleak future. In the long term, the Earth would become a much harsher and more inhospitable place. The cumulative effects of climate change, loss of biodiversity, and ecosystem collapse would create a world unrecognizable to the one we know today. A planet of dust and heat. As desertification spreads, much of the Earth would resemble the world's hottest and driest deserts. Crops would struggle to grow, fresh water would become scarce, and temperatures would be extreme. Life, both human and animal, would struggle to survive in this harsh new world. Final thoughts. Why trees matter. Trees are far more than just a scenic part of nature. They are an integral component of the Earth's life support systems, stabilizing ecosystems, moderating climate, and providing vital resources. The removal of trees would set off a catastrophic chain of events that would lead to the collapse of ecosystems, the acceleration of climate change, and widespread human suffering. That's all for today. We'll talk on another topic in the next upcoming video. Stay tuned and keep supporting us. Thank you.